Is willpower a muscle that needs to be trained, or is it a finite resource that needs to be conserved? We have social media on our phone all the time, and I used to try to resist it as much as possible and try to train this muscle of willpower. And that didn't really work out. So then I got a flip phone where I just didn't need the use of social media at all, right? So like I cannot access social media on this. So I thought that would be the solution. But neither worked, right? And I was just stuck between doing that, doing this, but I would still be distracted all the time. Like I can still watch TV, I can still go to Instagram on my computer. And it's just this cycle of, so there's two perspectives, but neither of them work, so what do I do, right? This video is about that, and this video is about how actually those two perspectives aren't really separate, that they both converge at a single point, that there's a third factor that we're failing to consider, right? And this is something that every person who is successful, who is at the top of their game, realized and that they implemented. They realized that it's not just about customizing your environment or pushing through it, it's about doing both at once to the maximum. And there's this third factor that we're failing to consider, that once we do consider, these two perspectives just don't matter anymore. Before I talk about that third perspective, let me talk about what these two perspectives are and their pitfalls and what they're useful for, right? So the first one, which is the popular advice that as long as you can do it, as long as you have the willpower, you can do anything. And I hear that from my parents all the time, where it's like, why'd you get a flip phone? Like you could just willpower through it, right? Just study because you want to study. Just like study because you're deciding to study. And I think that has amazing uses, right? When you're at the gym and you're trying to work out, it is really hard to create your environment to make you do more reps. When you're on the last rep and you really just feel the pain, you just need that willpower to push through and be like, all right, I'm going to do this last rep, right? If you want to build muscle and if you want to be strong and fit, there is willpower necessary that makes you go on that run, that makes you go to the gym. Without that, it's really hard, right? And people like David Goggins, Alex Hormozi, like they do that. That's how they came to the top of their game, with willpower. So that's the pros of it. But the cons of it is that it's something that everyone experiences all the time, which is towards the end of the day, it becomes really, really hard to use willpower to do anything. Taking this to the extreme, the Apple founder, Steve Jobs, and Bill Gates, they wear the same clothes every single day. And the reason for that is because of willpower fatigue, where they believe that, when you put power into decisions, you lose the power to make strong decisions later in the day. So they would wear the same clothes every single day so they didn't have to waste any willpower, any decision making on choosing their clothes. Okay, so how does this apply to us? And how do you see it in everyday life, where it's like, if you think about it, in the morning, it is so easy to do the hard things, like go on the run, go to the gym. But as it gets to the end of the day, it is so much more difficult to go to the gym, to go on that run, to finish your homework, right? And that is because of something called willpower fatigue. It is very well documented with a lot of scientific research and neuroscience behind it, right? Which is what totally started this whole new movement of anti-hustle culture movement, where the main idea is, why rely on willpower when you could just customize your environment so you don't need to use willpower at all. For example, the famous kind of saying is, if you don't want to eat sugars, if you don't want to eat cookies, then don't buy any cookies, right? It's such a simple thing, but we buy cookies, we buy chips, we buy all this junk food and put it in our house, and we think, why am I not eating healthy yet? But if all you had was healthy food in your house, then all you would be eating is healthy food, because you don't really have a choice. I got a flip phone, and if I go to the library with just this and nothing else, then it is really difficult for me to be distracted. Because I'm going to play Snake Game on this for 10 minutes, right? Like, there's no need for me to have willpower in that situation. And this is amazing because, like I said, like if you're trying to eat healthy, just don't have junk food. If you're trying to not be distracted, just delete the distractions, right? But there's also pitfalls to this, because you can't delete all the distractions. You can't delete all the junk food. Let's say you're driving home from work and you see McDonald's. It is so easy to just go through the drive-thru and get a McChicken, right? Obviously, like I have a phone, but I also have my iPhone, because without it, like I don't have a camera, I don't have a calendar, I don't have a to-do list, I don't have a diary. So I need this. But then I could just re-download Instagram and TikTok whenever, right? So it's not just that I can customize it forever and that it removes the need for willpower forever. Ideally it is this convergence point where you customize your environment as much as you can, but also you have to push through with your willpower as much as you can as well. The people at the top of their game, right? They do both of these things all at once. And I'm going to talk about this tomorrow because I don't want to make this video too long. But the third factor I would say is reason, fulfillment, ambition, dharma. There's so many different ways that you can call it, but it's this true core reason of why you're doing something that makes you do it. Even David Goggins, even Alex Ramosi, even Ali Abdal, Tim Ferriss, people who are at the top of their game, everyone does both of these things at once, with the main focus being their dharma, their ambition, their purpose, their fulfillment. And if you focus on one perspective, one at a time, you'll get nowhere. Talk about that from personal experience. So I got the flip phone, that's why I did everything, but it's not worked out. What worked out is getting the flip phone, but also having the willpower to not go on Instagram on my phone, to not re-download it, to not open it on my computer, right? It is important to have willpower, but at the same time, it is important to figure out systems to not fatigue it, right? So those are the two perspectives, and in this video, I kind of described what those two perspectives are, their pitfalls, their pros, right? And also like why they don't really matter. And if you want me to go more into why they don't really matter, I will make another video about that. Just let me know. I just want to know if this actually connected with my audience. And if it didn't, then that's fine. But if it did, let me know in the comments and I'll have that other video coming up for you. I make everyday vlogs. My name is Nitish. I make vlogs every single day because I'm doing a challenge of 100 vlogs for 100 days. And for now, these vlogs are just talking head videos of me discussing something that I think is important, like willpower, of this two perspectives, right? And if it resonated with you, send me a comment. Find a way to give me that feedback, and I'll continue making things like this. All right. Thank you for watching. Check out my other content, and see you tomorrow.